In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a purchase order. To create a purchase order, use Purchase Order Entry, POE. The form contains header information that applies to all the lines on the order. The form also includes purchase order lines for entering individual transaction lines. Sunsystems Purchase Order Entry form is highly customizable. Therefore, fields can be customized depending on your organization's requirements. Once the purchase order lines have been created, they are processed further based on the purchase order stages that have been set. The purchase type selected on the entry form determines how the order is processed, for example, the stage which it must reach before receiving items or invoicing. It is common practice to have different purchase types depending on the types of items purchased, for example, inventory, non-inventory, fixed assets, and services. Where fields refer to static data, the data must be set up beforehand. For example, a supplier code must have been defined using supplier, SUS, analysis codes using analysis codes, ANC. Items of purchase using item master, ITM, currency codes using currency codes, CNC, etc. Please note that the function purchase order entry, POE, may be restricted to some groups of users. To complete the steps in this video, users must have access to the purchase order entry function. In the Sunsystems action box, type the function POE. Then press Enter. In Change Business Unit, select the business unit code, for example, PK1, then press Enter. In the Find Form list, select the form code PK1_POE. Then click OK. The purchase order entry form is displayed. The field Purchase Order Reference contains the transaction reference for the purchase order. In this example, it is updated automatically by the system from running the number stream sequence when the order header is validated. This reference is used throughout Sunsystems order fulfillment to identify this purchase order. In the field Purchase Transaction Type, enter the purchase type to be applied to the order. This determines the purchase order process for an order. Depending on the configuration, it may be required to select different purchase types for different item types, inventory, non-inventory, or fixed assets. In this example, select PI_inventory. The field supplier code is a mandatory field for every purchase order. Here, enter the supplier from whom the order is placed, for example, 81001. The field invoice address code contains the address where the supplier sends their invoices. This is updated automatically when the header is validated from the default code in the invoice address code specified in business unit name, BUN. In the field Currency Code, enter a code for the currency to be used for the transaction. This is used in the system and is serialized for multi-currency. In this example, enter GBP. In this entry form, purchase order analysis is specified for selection on the purchase order header. Up to 10 purchase order analysis can be configured depending on requirements. In this example, specify the analysis codes as follows. In project, enter P001. In department, enter 13. In employee code, enter XCDM. In tax, enter V. Next, we need to enter the purchase order entry line details. First, in the tab Currency Type, the field line number displays the purchase order line number. This is automatically created. In the field Item Code, enter the item code for the ordered item. You may input a code or press the F5 key to query and select an item from the item master list. In this example, enter GN 3004. The field Item Description displays the description of the item as created in Item Master. In the field Transaction Description, enter the description of the transaction, for example, purchase iPhones. In the field Quantity Value, enter the quantity required for the item on this line, for example, 10. In the field UOM, select the unit of measure or unit of purchase for the item, or leave blank to accept the default unit of purchase specified in Item Master. In this example, leave the field blank. In the field Unit Price Value, enter the price per unit for the item in this line. In this example, enter 870 and select Unit Price Override flag. Other fields, including net value, taxable total value, and gross value, are computed by the system from the purchase type value setting when the line is validated. Next, navigate to the tab Dates. You may specify details in this tab or leave them blank to accept the default. In the field Order Date, you may enter the date for the order or leave it blank to accept the current login date. In this example, we'll leave the field blank. Next, the field Own Due Date is the date by which the purchase order is expected to be delivered based on purchase lead time settings defined in Item Master and Supplier Setup. If neither of these is set, the current login date is used. In the field Transaction Period, you may enter the accounting period for the order or leave it blank to accept the current purchase period. In this example, leave the field blank. Now, move on to the tab PO Amendment Values. Fields that contain values can be amended at a later stage. For example, the quantity originally ordered may be amended at a later stage if the total purchase order cannot be supplied. In the tab Base Currency, values will be computed in the base currency if they have been specified for computation in the purchase type settings. Next, in the tab Analysis Details. In the field Account Code, enter an account for order transaction, for example, 21,000. In the analysis fields, codes entered in the header are already copied to the line. Finally, move to the tab Delivery. In the field Delivery Address Code, you may specify the code of the address to which goods will be delivered. In this example, the default delivery address code is automatically populated as the default address of 10 zero numbers for the business unit after the line is validated. The field Default Location ID has the location to be used as the default for storage of the item, as defined in Item Master, ITM. This is automatically populated and cannot be amended. You may update the following dates if and when information becomes available. In the field Own Due Date, enter the date by which the purchase order is expected to be delivered based on the purchase lead time settings in Item Master and Supplier Setup. If neither of these is set, the current login date is used. The field Own Latest Due Date is the current expected delivery date for the order if the original date has been amended. The field Supplier Due Date is the date by which the requester expects the order to be delivered. The field Supplier Latest Due Date is the current date when the requester expects the order to be delivered if the original date has been amended. To save your changes and validate the line, click OK. The information entered is validated. Additionally, all calculated values are computed. In this example, net value, taxable total value, and gross value are computed. On top of that, purchase order reference, such as the status for receipt note and invoice, are also updated. Note that you may attach files to a purchase order. To do that, click the Manage Attachment icon. In the Attachments window, select Document Type from the drop-down list. Select Infor Purchase Order to attach a file to the whole order. Select Infor Purchase Order Line to attach a file to a specific order line. Drag and drop or click Select Attachments, and browse for the file to upload. Once the file has been uploaded, it will be displayed in the Attachments list. The file description defaults to the file name. To edit the file name, simply click Description and amend the description as you wish. Note that the total size of attachments must not exceed the maximum size configured for the business unit. To proceed, click OK. Now, you may review the purchase order details. If they are correct and ready to proceed to the next stage, from the menu Actions, click Confirm All. This will move the order to the next process in the purchasing cycle. The receipt note status changes from not available for receiving to available for receiving as the order has been moved to the next step, waiting on printing and sending order document to supplier, followed by delivery and receiving of items. You may print the purchase order document in Purchase Order Entry. To do so, click Actions and select Print All. In Document Format Runtime Parameters, select View. Then click OK. The purchase order document is displayed. The layout of this document can be customized to meet your organization's specification. Thank you for watching. See you next time.